Alright, welcome back. CGT Podcast, episode 2. Bringing some more beautiful brooms. About to sweep all the dusty shit under the rug. So, this episode is going to be called, or about, pandemics and presidents. Now, the reason it's called that is because of the fact that there's a co-aligning rhythm that seems to go along with these elections and pandemics or some type of crisis. And I'm excited to bring this shit on, so I'm gonna have to take a deep breath on that and actually go get some water. All right, here we go. So, pandemics and presidents. I'm going to try to order this as best as possible, but I really am the type of person that just goes with the flow, but it's always my flow. So, with that being said, we're going to start off with some general ideas that I think a lot of people are already familiar with. And with these general ideas, you'll be able to see how powerful a lot of people are just ignoring it, you feel me? But how powerful the order out of chaos theory is in today's world, and also how in history it's already been established. But another thing besides, or the sister of the order out of chaos, is this idea of balance. So with that being said, just how you have people who understand that there has to be order out of chaos, they understand, with that being said, that they need people like you and I, like light workers or people who are the opposite. We don't need chaos in order to have order. We don't need fear in order to have control over ourselves or even maintain a civilized mind state. So with that being said, we're going to hop right into it, I guess, a little bit. I'm going to just dab. So, something general that everybody can relate to, like I was saying, is something called the Hegelian dialectic. Now, I'm starting off here because of the fact that a lot of people should be familiar with this idea already. You can check up Prodigy's album. He's a rapper or artist called the Hegelian dialectic, but also a lot of music based in the 1960s and the 1970s was a part of this idea of the average everyday person starting to realize that the Hegelian dialectic is actually real, basically. So, with that being said, we're coming up on like a powerful like anniversaries with the year 2020, and that's being ignored, but the energy is reflecting that anyway. So, in order to maintain these energies and control them, or what we call civilize them, they have used the theories and philosophies of people who mostly thought about socialism or socializing, sociology, psychology, economy, and resources. The rest of that shit is just like shit to make you like, that's just shit to shut you up. But what we're talking about right here with the Hegelian dialectic is, since they study those specific forms of knowledge, they are able to, in today's time, make people who actually can bring change in the world. They'll make you focus on something that is an illusion or a temporary exhaustion or a temporary way for you to express your anger or exhaustion or disagreement with the system. So this guy Hegelian, he was a philosopher, and he was like basically the opposite of what they would call what's that nigga name? Karl Marx. But I don't know why they pulled up this shit right here. Hegelian is the collection. So with that being said, in the Britannica.com, it's telling you that Hegelianism is the collection of philosophical movements that develop out of the thought of the 19th century German philosopher George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. The term is so constructed as to elude Hegel himself and to include, therefore, only the ensuing Hegelian movements. As such, it thought is focused upon history and logic, a history in which it sees in various perspectives that the rational is the real, and a logic in which it sees that the truth is the whole. So what's going on basically is these people understand that if they give you half of the truth, right, in a mass, and you consume this in mass consumption, meaning not only you consume it, but the people around you consume it, and they're reacting to it, and while you're reacting to it. And once they get that, you start reacting in a way where it causes chaos. And a lot of people get dissatisfied. And the people who get dissatisfied, they are also being led by the same people to be dissatisfied. While the people who were dissatisfied in the first place, they are, once again, expressing their dissatisfaction in false ways. And I'm using code right now so that you will understand. But anyway, a lot of the groups and shit like that out there today, they're doing this. They are actually government agencies, literally. So why are we calling these government agencies? And I'm about to draw this back into goddamn what the overall thing was, which is pandemics and politics and presidents, basically. So when you start off with Hegelian dialectic, then you understand that these people even back in the 19th century, which is the 1800s, you feel me? Even back in the 1800s, these people had the idea.
But what is the best way to sell big government and then world government to a people like ours, historically devoted to an independent republic of liberty?
These people had the idea of, you feel me, once again, how do we maintain control in this land? There's so many different ideologies, philosophies, economic systems, and power schemes going on, and we can't afford to lose these because they bring us a form of control and power in which we can use against ourselves in order to make ourselves more powerful. That might seem crazy. We can make up an enemy in order to make ourselves stronger, basically. So with that being said, that only is available when you have a group of people, or you have many groups of people in your nation who are waking up and seeing that the people who are in control are not doing that shit correctly. So this is a part of what they call a revolt or a revolution, or that's a bad word for it. It's a paradigm shift. It's a paradigm shift, basically. So with that being said, these people are trying to stop the paradigm shift by making you fearful of what will happen after the paradigm shift happens. So with that being said, I'm going to try to listen to this right quick. I'm going to try to show you a little bit of it, but I'd rather you just listen to it.
Big government and then world government to a people like us.
All right, I'm going to start it over.
But what is the best way to sell big government and then world government to a people like ours, historically devoted to an independent republic of limited powers? The answer is simple. In revolutionary literature, the tactic is known as pressure from above.
Now, I'll pause this part because I want you to see this shit. Take a look at this picture. Solutions at the top, problems at the bottom. They create a friction, and out of that friction, you create government. That's what you create. That's why capitalism is the American economy. But, okay, let us break this down a little bit more. Let me break that down. I'm going to go back so y'all can pay attention. Now, remember that picture I just showed you. Remember that picture.
Pressure from above and the tactic is known as pressure from above and below. It's the strategy that Colonel House laid down in his book, Philip Drew, Administrator. Deliberately create problems, and then offer only those solutions that result in the expansion of government. Create conditions so frightful at home and abroad that the abandonment of personal liberties and national sovereignty will appear as a reasonable price for a return to domestic tranquility and world peace. If those who seek world dominion can stimulate leftist mobs into violent confrontation with local law enforcement, and also provide exhaustive news coverage so that the entire nation can see and tremble, then the peaceful and freedom-loving majority can be programmed to accept a vast expansion of government powers and even a national police force, offered supposedly to end the violence. If those who seek world dominion can raise the specter of an enemy armed to the teeth with superior atomic weapons on the verge of launching a nuclear holocaust, and also offer world government as the prevention, then millions of Americans can be programmed to accept the loss of national sovereignty as our last best hope for peace. This is the meaning of pressure from above and below. To put over police state measures at home, they need chaos, crime, and anarchy in the streets. To sell the idea of world government, they need the constant threat of nuclear war. Or, as they say in revolutionary circles, the real action is in the reaction. In 1968, Random House Incorporated published this book by James Coonan, The Strawberry Statement, Notes of a College Revolution.
Y'all gotta get that book, bro. Like, I got it on PDF, and I haven't finished reading it. Honestly, I started reading it like a couple months ago. I never finished reading it, but it's messy. That's all.
Revolutionary. Coonan carries the usual New Left credentials and is a classic example of the extent to which a highly intelligent mind can be programmed by the establishment into thinking that it is acting against the establishment. Coonan was one of the leading participants in the first student seizure of an American university, which occurred at Columbia in April of 1968. Initially, the movement was not large and easily could have been stopped by a simple police action. But as usual, the anti-establishment forces received their greatest help from the establishment itself. For several days, police were told not to interfere. Meanwhile, university officials groveled in the face of outrageous propaganda charges, and the media made national heroes of the rebelling students. MGM even made a movie out of Coonan's book. On page 130, Coonan wrote, "In the evening, I went up to the U to check out a strategy meeting. A kid was giving a report on the SDS convention. He said that at the convention, men from Business International roundtables, the meeting sponsored by Business International for their client groups and heads of government, tried to buy up a few radicals."
Hang in there now. Don't go to sleep, bruh. Don't. Okay? You gotta actually listen, bro. Like, I don't know if I just disturb you if you're actually listening, but continue listening.
They offered to finance our demonstrations in Chicago. We were also offered ESSO, or Rockefeller money. They want us to make a lot of radical commotion so they can look more in the center as they move to the left. Jerry Kirk, while a student at the University of Chicago, was active in the SDS, the Du Bois Club, the Black Panthers, and the Communist Party. In 1969, Mr. Kirk broke from the party, and the following year testified before the House and Senate Internal Security Committees. Here is what Mr. Kirk has told us. Young people have no conception of the conspiracy strategy of pressure from above and pressure from below. They have no idea that they're playing into the hands of the establishment they claim to hate. The radicals think they're fighting the forces of the super-rich, like Rockefeller and Ford, and don't realize that it is precisely such forces which are behind their own revolution, financing it, and using it for their own purposes.
I ain't got to say nothing else, but hey, please keep listening. I ain't saying nothing though. This is not me, and that's why my podcast is gonna be different from a lot of people, like, because of the fact that I'm not saying this shit. This is pure research, and if you want to, like, me personally, I don't have to debate with people. I don't have to argue. I don't have to do none of that shit. I just like to, you feel me, share information with people, and also create, grow, and transform daily. I create new philosophies myself. You feel me? So this is beautiful, just being inspired by this. So please listen to what they're saying, bro. Because I don't need, for a fact, this is a fact, I don't need these people to tell me this. The reason I am able to look up stuff like this is because I already had the intuition to look this shit up. It's not because somebody, like this, I seen this shit on TV or something like that. It's not because they YouTube advertised it to me. It's because I typed in order out of chaos. It's on your dollar. It's on your it's on your money. The thing that you use more than anything, probably besides air, water, and, you feel me, the 4 elements and toilet tissue and shit like that. So, with that being said, it's not just me. I know it's you too. So, yeah, just please realize the more that you focus in on other people, old stuff specifically, shit, the more that you focus in on stuff proving what you are saying or what your intuition is before you were born, if you can do that shit, then that means that, if you can prove that, then that means, you feel me, you're on to something. You feel me? And that's something that people need to know about. Because you wouldn't even be experiencing something that happened in the past, in the future, if they're saying they had solutions and shit. Which way they never had the solutions, but they always caused the problem.
Stokely Carmichael was head of the militant revolutionary group known as SNCC. He was invited to speak at the University of Chicago. Jerry Kirk, then still a Black Panther, was among those who attended, and here is how he described Carmichael's appearance. Mr. Carmichael was obviously in the middle of something rather important, which made him more nervous and more tense than in the past. He started speaking of things which he said he could not have said before because his research was not finished. He spoke of the false consciousness of many blacks who believed the Jews were the instrument of oppression of blacks. And he made note of the fact that even though many Jewish people, for example in New York, own quite a bit of land, one must understand that the overwhelming percentages of mortgages in Harlem was owned not by Jewish people, but by Morgan Guaranty Trust, the Morgan family, and Chase Manhattan Bank, the Rockefellers. He repeated the line from the song he liked so well. Something is happening here, but you don't know quite what it is, do you, Mr. Jones? What he was getting at was that the Jews were simply one strata of society who are
Can't take care of that.
more powerful. In the agencies of this power, he cited banks, the chief among which were Morgan Guaranty Trust and Chase Manhattan, and the foundations connected with these monoliths. It was not long after this that Stokely Carmichael mysteriously was ousted from both SNCC and the Black Panthers. Apparently, he had learned too much. More and more young radicals are beginning to wake up to the fact that their entire lives have been carefully programmed.
They say he learned too much. Listen to that part, bro. That's important. Too much for him, of course, because their brain can't, you feel me? Evil can only contain so much knowledge in that, like, in reality. Because it's so greedy, all it can think about is fulfilling its own filth.
And by the very people who are their hate symbols. They're beginning to realize that their so-called anti-establishment outlook actually is the calculated product of the establishment press, the establishment communications media, the establishment entertainment industry, the establishment schools. Rich men's corporations publish and popularize revolutionary books and songs. Through advertising, rich men's businesses subsidize revolutionary magazines. Rich men's tax-exempt foundations pour millions of dollars into left-wing organizations. The federal establishment in Washington, through agencies like the OEO, provide weekly paychecks to thousands of hardcore revolutionaries. And so we return again to the basic question, why? Why does the establishment publicly condemn but privately support the anti-establishment movement? Former communist Jerry Kirk answers, the idea is to create a situation where the people are so frightened of the violence all around them that they will throw their hands up in the air and demand, federal government, do something. And the only choice open will be martial law. The communists, black militants, and revolutionaries will never succeed in overthrowing the government of the United States. But unless they are stopped, they will scare the American people into accepting socialism from Washington and statist rule by the insiders of the establishment. This is what it is really all about.
Now, bow. Thank you for being able to pay attention for about 7 minutes. What that video was, 7 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, with that's just the beginning. That's just the Hegelian dialectic part. Now that you actually know how this is actually used and applied, so it's one thing to be able to know, oh yeah, I know the Hegelian dialectic. But if you can't understand how this shit, why it's even known in your brain, why you know this shit, because it's active in today's time, and it's so powerful as a shadow technique or a shadow weapon that literally a motherfucker can do that shit for about another 1,000 years if your ass don't wake the fuck up. But the part of waking up is just sharing and learning with each other. So the next part we're gonna get to understand I'm gonna do some other basic shit right quick. Now we about that's 3 minutes into this video, and then the last video was about 20 minutes. So we about almost 30 minutes into this video. So I'm gonna try to speed it up at this point. But the next couple videos really short. Anyway, we're gonna get into this shit. Some other basic shit, basically. I was gonna get into how, you feel me, all the presidents are related to each other. Now, why is that important? Because the Hegelian dialectic, you can understand why it's so powerful at that point in time. Now, after these people understand and have this knowledge, they pass it down to in their family, in their bloodline. You get what I'm saying? So, even you got to realize that in reality, this country, you feel me, is nothing but toilet paper. They wrote a constitution on some fucking paper, and they tell your ass, just like the Bible and shit like that shit was made by special people, and then they not only wasn't made by special people, but it was preserved until this time. A piece of paper type shit. Some pieces of paper. And I understand that preservation is really easy, you feel me? It's not hard to preserve shit. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's also not easy to fabricate something also. So with that being said, we can make our own shit up. We can make our own shit up on that terms. So with that being said, why is that important? Because if these families and these bloodlines are basically doing exactly what they did on the other land in order to become kings and queens, that's basically what they're doing. That then, but they just have different codes and words for it. You feel me? A different culture, because they have every land that you go on, every land that they go on and quote unquote colonize, or basically, you feel me, have shadow wars with. The people who go there and they got them establish that shit the fastest and do the most powerful is, and use these shadow weapons the best in the most sophisticated way, they become kings and queens. Because, you feel me, the way they so sophisticated but they still have so much power, the way they so evil but you would never fucking guess that shit unless you got them really unless you was powerful with them or more powerful, then shit, them and their family on whatever land they on, whether it be America, somewhere in Europe, you feel me, like, they gonna always have, it's gonna be a line of motherfuckers waiting to use this Hegelianism and different techniques that him and Edward Bernays and what's these philosophers like you feel me? A lot of what's these philosophers' names? Rudolf Steiner. I mean, motherfucking all these motherfuckers. I mean, all these people. So at the end of the day, these people are family members. I'm gonna speed the video up, and I don't want to waste my time trying to show you. Well, wait, yeah, this video only like a minute and 40 seconds, so I'm gonna break it down.
Came across this incredible real fact on a Snapple.
Now this right here is
app.
Business Insider.
Franklin Roosevelt was related to 5 U.S. presidents by blood and 6 by marriage. It seemed too good to be true. There have only ever been 45 presidents. Could Franklin Delano Roosevelt really be related to almost 25% of them? We reached out to the FDR Library to find out more. Here's what we learned. On the Roosevelt side, he was related to just 2. Theodore Roosevelt, his 5th cousin, and Martin Van Buren. On the Delano side, he was related to 9 more. John Adams, James Madison, John Quincy Adams, William Henry Harrison, Zachary Taylor, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant, Benjamin Harrison, and William Howard Taft. But he's also related to George Washington by marriage. So that's really 12 in all.
Just coincidence?
More than 25% of all U.S. presidents. Snapple was pretty close. FDR was also related to these famous historical figures. Winston Churchill, his 8th cousin once removed, Jefferson Davis, and Robert E. Lee. What a legacy.
It's just a coincidence, right? Just a coincidence, right, everybody? All my birds out here flying and shit. We see where y'all going. All my eagles out here, all my owls. We see where y'all going. We see where y'all at. We see where y'all going. We see what y'all trying to do. So, at the end of the day, I'm gonna just keep sharing this information, like I said. Now let's get into this. Why is this important? There's these different bloodlines in these different families. So what you have to understand is the leftists and the right shit, that shit don't fucking matter. That shit is exchangeable for exchangeable for the time and whatever it takes to control and put a power scheme in to make you trust their ass. Whatever it make you trust their ass. So with that being said, sometimes the color blue will make you trust somebody during the times that we in. Sometimes the color red will make you trust somebody more. Sometimes the color yellow will make you trust somebody more. You feel what I'm saying? The green, it's all approachable. But with that being said, the reason why, you feel me, it's a duality of presidents and these pandemics is because of the fact that both the Democrats and the Republicans are part of this family bloodline. But it's just like, you have to understand you have a maternal side and a fraternal side. That's why they were saying like he's related to about 25% of them. So you have to understand that, yeah, 25% of them, that's what they telling you. And he's also related to different people. He got cousins and shit. So these cousins are also fucking more powerful people. That's what they're not telling you. But the other part of that is, the reason why that's important is the Democrats and Republicans, you feel me, it's like this. It's like a family once again. Like, so if Donald Trump get into office, you feel me, and Michelle Obama and Barack Obama and shit like that. These are people who are introducing the new age. They're trying to sneak their way into the new paradigm, you feel me? So what they did was introduce you to people who are going to reestablish and try to update the motherfucking paradigm, you feel me, that they want to govern. So with that being said, they give you the opposites of some shit like that. First, they give you the fuck up in George Bush, and then after that, you feel me, it's like, oh shit, somehow this black person heal everything. Then after that, oh shit, somehow this like non-political nigga who knows a lot about conspiracies is going to heal shit. So with that being said, the underlying theme is that they making you think that something need to be fucking fixed still. You feel me? Nothing needs to be fixed. Instead of they ass need to aspire. You feel me? Expiration dates. Everybody got an expiration date. So with that being said, we have to really be very cautious, you feel me, of believing or trusting anybody, either side of this shit. And we already know this. Both of these motherfuckers been accused of all this different shit nowadays. And the reason why that's happening is because of the fact they only do shit like that. And they use the Clintons and shit like that. You have to know that anytime they're using the Clintons or anytime they're using, you feel me, anybody is associated with the Clintons and shit like that and what happened in the 1990s, then you have to realize they are part of these people who actually believe in the chaos, order out of chaos type shit, but they believe in it in a different way than the Republicans believe in it. The Republicans believe in it like, we gonna show you that we in control. We gonna show you that we the thugs. We gonna show you that we the big boys and we don't give a fuck how you think about that shit. We'll come take your shit and then do all that shit, and then we got niggas who will back us up. The whole country type shit. And if you don't want to back us up, fuck you then, nigga. We'll take your shit and use it for the fucking shit that we gotta do. But the Democrats, they more like sneaky with that shit. You feel me? So it's like they believe in order out of chaos the same way, except for they chaos is more so, we're gonna blame it, we're gonna make you the problem. And you're the only problem, basically. It's like reverse psychology. It's very deep reverse psychology. So we get into this right here. There have been 31 national emergencies that have been in effect for years. Years! Why is that important, bro? We're going to go into it. According to the Federal Register, 58 national emergencies have been declared since the National Emergency Act of 1976. 1976 was signed, I said 1976. The Act of 1976 was signed into law by President Gerald Ford. Why is this important, bro? Why? Because fucking President Gerald Ford wasn't even fucking supposed to be the president. He was never supposed to be the president. He was never supposed to be the president. He was a bitch ass nigga, and he slid his way in there. After JFK died, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look this shit up. I think it was either after JFK died or after Jimmy Carter had got kicked out of office or some shit like that. Let me see. Gerald Ford. Ford was the vice president for who? For how he became president. In December 1973, 2 months after the resignation of Spiro Agnew, Ford became the first person appointed to the vice presidency under the terms of the 25th Amendment by Richard Nixon. After the subsequent resignation of President Nixon in 1974, Ford immediately assumed the presidency. What a coincidence. The 38th president, right? Gerald Rudolph Ford was an American politician who served as the 30th president from August 1974 to 1977. Before his accession to the presidency, Ford served as the 40th vice president of the United States. 40th vice president of the United States from December 1973 to August 1974. Richard Nixon, so he stepped up after Richard Nixon stepped in. And he was nothing, bro. That shit is a fucking joke. You gotta be fucking kidding me, bro. You gotta be. This is obvious. This is obvious socialism and this is obvious corruption, and business is fucking in control of everything, bro. And the people who are in control of the businesses are nothing but the new kings and queens. You feel me? So with that being said, how the fuck does Gerald Ford, and look at his last name, Ford Company. So we talking about people who can buy their way into presidency season shit, right? So if you ever seen the movie Back to the Future, a lot of people think that the movie Back to the Future is about you can say that you can almost think that the movie Back to the Future is about Donald Trump, but in reality, it's about Gerald Ford. You gotta understand that shit, bro. This man is literally the first president of a fucking. He's not the first president. Let me get that right. He's the first time. First of all, he wasn't even supposed to become the vice president. He wasn't the initial vice president. Fucking Richard Nixon, corrupt ass, who was already bought out. He signed the fucking law saying that he can choose a vice president after he's already fucking chose a vice president. And then he chose this person. But in reality, he chose himself. Because he was in fucking control when he bought this shit out. Whoever fucking buys these people out, they're in control. So what did they do in order to help? What did they do? What happened in 1974? You're right? 1974. 1976. 1974. Let's see. Let me see. What was I at? I said 1976. You feel me? According to the Federal Register. Okay. The National Emergency Act was signed in 1976 by President Gerald Ford, right? Once again, Gerald Ford wasn't even supposed to be the president. Let's get this right. Not only, why am I saying he's not supposed to be the president? I don't just want to be making you speculate. I don't want to be mistaken as somebody who just speculates. So the reason I'm saying he wasn't supposed to be president is because of the fact that it's illegal for somebody to even sign into law for somebody to become the vice president after they've already became the vice president. In December, 2 months after the resignation of Spiro Agnew, so you telling me both the vice president and the president resigned out of nowhere, and the Speaker of House didn't come interrupt that shit. I don't know when that law was signed into effect. Don't get me wrong, I might be mistaken on that, but still, you telling me that both first the vice president stepped down, then the president stepped down? What a coincidence, right? What a fucking coincidence. What a coincidence, right? And then while he is in office, this corrupt man who's just basically throwing his money around in order to do shit, and he has so many ties into the American economy through being associated with Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and motherfucking, you feel me, Bilderbergs and a whole bunch of nasty ass names that I don't even got a name, because these motherfuckers, the name don't matter. It's about the energy. Once you see this energy in somebody on the street, they are a representation of these people. So with that being said, let's go back to the emergency shit. I just wanted you to know that it was illegal in the first of all, this shit wasn't even supposed to happen. That's how you know we living in an alternate reality. If you're going by the Constitution that these white people, or these, I'm not even gonna, if you're going by the Constitution that we made up, but they interpret it, then these motherfuckers this nigga wasn't even supposed to be the president. But anyway, according to the Federal Register, 58 national emergencies have been declared since the National Emergency Act of 1976. And 31 have been annually renewed and are currently still in effect as listed in the Federal Register. Here's a list. President Jimmy Carter, who came into office and he was corrupt, and then his bitch ass got kicked out of the office because people already seen back then that he was full of shit. And they wasn't falling for that shit back then. So they was like, fuck no, we got to get this nigga out of office and get somebody in there who can actually sway these motherfuckers, rock their ass into a motherfucking coma. The National Emergency Act with respect to Iran, he signed the National Emergency Act with respect to Iran in response to the Iran hostage crisis. So we talking about, let's get this right. This is called the National Emergencies. National Emergency Act, right? This is what this is called. The National Emergency Act. What nation what nation are you talking about? Because you're not talking about fucking America, because the first thing I just named on this fucking list is the national emergency with respect to Iran in response to the Iran hostage crisis. You know what I'm saying, bro? So you telling me you got motherfuckers over here in 1976 literally still fucking dealing with disgusting situations, basically, of all walks of life. People coming back from wars they haven't been fucking paid. Black people, white people in this fucking psyops war with each other. Property being stolen from people silently, basically. People being, you feel me, taken off of their own land and being fucking sowing. They were sowing the seeds of being able to control people with GMOs and land with GMOs and shit like that. That's what they were doing around this time. And you telling me all this shit going on in America, right? These are the real national emergencies. But you somehow, the first one that they enact, or the first one on this list at least, was Jimmy Carter talking about the Iran hostage crisis. People fucking, I don't know what the fuck, I don't give a fuck what happened, bro. That don't make no sense, bro. President Bill Clinton, November 14, 1994, a national emergency with respect to the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction that combined two previous national emergencies focused on weapons of mass destruction. Once again, bro. Once again, right, fam? Right, fam? They talking about somewhere else. I just want to put that out there. That's my fact. That's my fact for today. That they talking about that this is called the National Emergencies Act. So the nations that they're talking about is not America. I'm trying to be real with you. It's not America, because they're actual emergencies that have been the ones that they listed on this act are the ones that keep getting reenacted. They ain't got shit to do with what's going on in the country. They talking about, what's the next one? January 2nd. So in November 14, 1994, they passed one. The next year, wait, not even, how many months is that? From November to January the 2nd. Let's count that shit. November, December, January. 3 months after they passed one national emergency for the weapons of mass destruction shit. They talking about the national emergency with respect to proliferating transactions with terrorists. Who is prohibiting the transactions? American government, right? But who is also making the transactions with the terrorists? The fucking American government. What? Hegelian dialectic? The national emergency with respect to prohibiting certain transactions with respect to the development of the Iranian petroleum resources was the effort to prevent potential deals between oil companies. Wow. So they just really bold. I guess that was around the time when they was like, fucking, we ain't even gonna hide this shit no more. We gonna let y'all niggas know that we need this shit from the world, and then y'all gotta back us up when we bully these niggas. I don't know what the fuck. And people were just rocked to sleep, or they just was just ignoring this shit. You telling me these motherfuckers passed another? Okay, let's get this right. President Bill Clinton alone. We already know how corrupt this man is. We already know. But let's look at this. We're not just talking about the reason why he's so corrupt is so many reasons, bro. But let's just get this lined up. From 1994, of November 1994, he signed one. January 2nd, he signed another one. March the 15th of 1995, he signed another one. October the 21st of 1995, he signed another one. March the 1st of 1996, he signed another one. 5 emergencies, right? We got 5 emergencies, right? 5 emergencies. 5 emergencies so far. And then, right before his ass got out of office in 1997, with all that fuck shit going on, people weren't rocked to sleep with his ass no more. Never mind. People was mad as fuck. They had to be. Bill Cooper, all my family back then, I bet they was mad as fuck. I bet your family member was mad as fuck with all this bullshit they had going on in the 90s. All the bullshit going on, all the people arrested and shit. I know they was mad. They had to be. And President Bill Clinton, they was rocking a couple people back into the goddamn American patriotic boat back then with that fucking shit, with the Hegelian dialectic shit back then. But guess what? Most people wasn't going for that shit. And the reason I'm saying that is because now that I'm looking at this shit, that's a big reason. This is illegal. little niece had called me just then. But like I was saying, bruh, this stuff is illegal. This stuff is illegal, fam. Seriously. So with that being said, it's illegal, and then a lot of people who actually understood with the interpretation of the actual, I mean, many people got many different interpretations of the Constitution, just like they do the Bible. So they different interpretations. Every one of those motherfuckers, they was like, hell nah. What the fuck? This ain't got shit to do with America. You telling me that you don't pass from the time you got in office? I don't know when he got in office. Let me look this shit up because I got a list of the elections and shit. The election years, because I'm going to get into that. So, when did he get into office? 1994. Let's look. He got into office in 1992. He got into office in 1992, fam. So, with that being said, from the time he got into office in 1992, out of nowhere in 1994, he just started firing off these national emergencies. Pow! National emergency over here. Pow! National emergency over here. Pow! National emergency over here. Pow! 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 Playing my saxophone to rock you to motherfucking sleep. Type shit. And niggas got mad, so they tried to make it seem like he was cheating on his wife and shit. Nigga, that's not even his fucking real wife. Stop playing. Stop playing with us, bro. That's not his fucking real wife, nigga. Come on, bro. Stop playing. We not going for that shit. We already know how y'all do that shit. We already know how shit work in the hood. Niggas doing that shit in the hood, we already know. You know how to... We already know. Y'all has been studying the fuck out of us. So, President Bush, after you get this nigga Bill Clinton out of office, you get another goddamn aristocrat. Another motherfucking, you feel me, person who believes in oligarchies and shit like that. You feel me? This is the ignorant person who, like I said, the person in the family, in the bloodline, and they believe in order out of chaos, but they believe in it by coming to you and presenting to you that they're going to do something and not having any reason to, but you still must respect them. But the way they did it this time was they gave you an idiot. They gave you a nigga who basically, like, you feel me? A nigga who basically was in the time, it just so happened that he became the president during the time where they already had a whole bunch of energy about to pop off. So they needed somebody to be able to literally confuse everybody. That's the only reason that nigga was in that bitch, to confuse them. To make you not know what the fuck they was really doing, bro. And that's the same thing they're doing right now. But with that being said, that's order out of chaos. It's the same thing as, you feel me, somebody who's very evil coming to you and being like, I'm on your side. I'm going to help you. This is the resistance against all these evil men and evil ass societies and evil ass different races and shit like that. We going to stop all this shit. And then you got other people over here like, fuck all that shit, bro. We need to go take everything from the fucking world and stop fucking worrying about all that fake ass shit that we created to make niggas mad. Fuck that shit. We gonna create shit to make niggas mad no matter what, nigga. So with that being said, after Bill Clinton got out of there, we talking about this, bro. National emergencies that actually popped off. So we talking about national emergencies, right? That's just the beginning. So with the national emergencies, after the terrorist shit start fading away, it's a cycle, you feel me? So they do this shit in cycles. After they made the international terrorism shit pop off, they had to literally start rocking people to sleep in other ways. But they still had to enforce that same, you feel me, crisis in order to make people fearful. The national emergency, once again, June 26th. So, June 26th. When did this man get into office? Let's look up when George Bush got into office. George Bush got into office in the year 2000. He got into the presidency in the year 2001, as a matter of fact. So with that being said, in June of the year that he became the president, there was a national emergency out of nowhere. We already got 6 inactive. We got 6 active national emergencies already, nigga. And we got 7. I forgot about Jimmy Carter shit. We got 7 national emergencies already from 2 different presidents, right? And none of them have shit to do with America. None of them have not one thing to do with this shit. this motherfucking land. The national emergency with respect to blocking the Sudanese government property and prohibiting transactions with Sudan? What the fuck? That don't sound like a national emergency to me. The national emergency, okay, now we're going to George Bush. The national emergency with respect to blocking property of persons who threaten the international stabilization efforts in Western Balkans imposed sanctions on those aiding Albanian insurgents in Macedonia. What the fuck? I didn't hear America in there nowhere, nigga. That seemed like, bruh. That seemed like something that, bruh. I bet if you go look at that act when they passed that shit, dead ass, bro. I bet that shit ain't got nothing to do with helping nobody. I bet it's literally just them saying, if you try to stop us from taking y'all shit, we gon' literally make niggas scared and come over there and beat y'all ass. That's what they saying. So after the same year, the first year he became the president, 2001, the national emergency with respect to we're not even talking about 9/11, family. We ain't even got to 9/11. We haven't even got to 9/11 yet. We haven't. With that being said, we already know that shit was fake. But somehow, in the first year this man became president, let's say, I think they enact these motherfuckers in February or January or some shit. Let's say February. So we talking about February, March, April, May, June. 5 months into him being the president, another national emergency has popped off. Something outside, which is, we already know, which is an effect of the other national emergencies of the shit that they claim was national emergency in the past. This is an effect of that. And now they passed another national emergency 5 months into this nigga being the president, which says that we gotta help a whole bunch of list of motherfuckers. The national emergency with respect to blocking property of persons who threatens the International Stabilization Act and Western Balkans impose sanctions on those aiding Albanian insurgents in Macedonia. How did you even figure out all that shit was going on over there, but you still ain't figure out what the fuck going on over here? You know what's going on? Wait, I know you know what's going on over here. You just got damn sucking the energy to once again stay in control. But anyway, the national emergency with respect to, we got something pop off in August. So 5 months after he became president, we got June, July, August. 7 months into him becoming the president, we introduced the 9th national emergency, which was, you feel me, which is still in effect to this day, which says that the national emergency with respect to export control regulations renewed presidential power to control exports and national emergency since the Export Administration Act of 1979 lapsed. Okay. Sneezing. I think she's sick, but anyway. With that being said, an act that they passed before didn't work out, which pretty much happens every time. The National Emergency Act with respect to export control regulations renewed presidential power to control exports in a national emergency. In a national emergency. It just so happened that they goddamn signed that shit in August 17th, and this is 7 months into his presidency. George Bush, who is an aristocrat, who's basically the son of a powerful ass nigga who had international relations, and he made his money based off of international slavery and international relations and shit like that. I'm sorry. Go get some water. He made his money off of that way. His son is now in office basically to back him up and defend that shit and rock y'all to sleep while him and his friends keep doing the same shit. And you telling me that somewhere out of nowhere he breaks the constitutional powers and he makes his law out of nowhere because it's not a national emergency. It's not a national emergency. He should not have the fucking power to control exports. He should not have the power to control exports in a national emergency. He should not have that power. And the reason he should not is because September 14, 2001, the national emergency with respect to the certain terrorist attacks was in response to the terrorist attacks of 9/11 and the continuing and immediate threat of further attacks of the United States. Wow. So you telling me it just so happened that this nigga just so happened to sign this shit into effect? And it was like, yeah, we need to sign a bill that's gonna give this nigga power to export shit around the world. My dad need to have the fucking power. We need to have the power to export shit around the world however we say so, basically. And we already know the only way to do this is to scare y'all. So we gonna say it's in case of don't worry about this shit. We just signing this shit into effect. This shit ain't gonna happen. It's only in a national emergency, which we've already passed motherfucking 8 in the last 5 years. And none of them have anything to do with the shit going on American soil. Whose nation was the National Emergency Act for? It wasn't my nation. And I don't want it to be. Because I don't need that shit. I rarely have any emergencies in my fucking life. And that ain't got shit to do with their efforts. September 23rd, 2001, the national emergency with respect to persons who threaten to commit, or support terrorism was in response to the 9/11 attacks. So you telling me another national emergency, the first actual thing that happened in America, the first actual act that was passed after something actually happened in America, which they caused, basically, which you already had other national emergencies before that. But this is the first one that you're going to pass some shit for. Some shit for some terrorists and shit. Terrorists. You feel me? We got terrorists. Fuck all the fucking evil shit going on in the country, bro. We don't need that shit. We don't need the pedophilia taken care of. We don't need the kidnappers taken care of. We don't need the racism and the filth taken care of. We don't need the school system taken care of. We don't need the banking system taken care of. Because we don't need none of that shit taken care of. That's not national emergencies. Our banking system has not been fucking hijacked since 1913 and well before that. Many times. And that's not a national emergency. No. The real national emergency is the fact that we just demolished one of our buildings without telling nobody. And now there's terrorists in the world. So after that, in 2002, after they passed that shit, the Patriot Act and all these other acts, they had so much power and they had so much control of the economy that literally, they didn't have to pass no more they ain't had to do no more national emergencies for about a good 2 years almost. But in March 6, 2003, the National Emergency Act with respect to blocking property of persons undermining democratic processes or institutions in Zimbabwe was an effort to punish associates of Robert Mugabe. But I really feel like I ain't did no research on this shit. I swear I haven't. But if you know anything about this situation, let me know. But I want to bet with all my fucking heart that this is a Hegelian dialect itself in Zimbabwe that they are forcing America to back them up on. When I'm saying they, what do I mean? I mean that his dad and their friends are in Zimbabwe trying to take shit already, right? And they're doing a Hegelian dialect over there with their people. They're not going to say, oh yeah, we the people in control over here. They're going to say, we going to put our hand into you like the nigga in the Matrix, like the Mr. Smith in the Matrix, and then we going to turn you to us slowly but surely. So, with that being said, this act, you can already bet, was that effort to stop real people in real time and with real solutions from actually having a voice, so they had to go over there and back up a fake ass politician or some shit. With that being said, the National Emergency Act, like literally 2 months after that, May 22nd, which is already a fucking crazy ass fucking thing, because May is the month of Taurus, kinda. Well, May 22nd is the cusp of the month of Taurus. and Gemini. And Gemini's twins, and Taurus is the second house, and you feel me? 2003 is 5, and then May is the 5th month. So I don't know. But anyway, with that being said, national emergency. I bet if you really look at the numbering on all the dates that they established these national emergencies, in which they have, you feel me, which they used to use back in the day, which around the same time I'm about to get into how they start using these pandemics and stuff like that too. Chill, stop, Wish. No, stop. Alright, how they started using these pandemics and shit like that. But I'm trying to get you to see how this shit evolves over time. It's not just one stable thing. So in today's time, I'm going to be able to tell you about coronavirus and how they doing that shit. But I'm the type of person, I want you to see the whole picture. It's got to be a 360. It's got to be a triple arc. You feel me? A quadruple arc. With that being said, the national emergency in 2003 in 2003, May 22nd, was protecting the development fund for Iraq and certain other property in which Iraq has interest. What has an interest was issued following the U.S. invasion of Iraq. So we invaded Iraq, and we passed a national emergency saying that we got to goddamn beat Iraq ass. That's powerful. Hey, that's powerful right there. We got some real good leadership in America, bro. They doing this shit so well that I really don't think there's been another time in history, recorded history, where a motherfucker could literally use shadow weapons so well, basically. The national emergency will respect. So, all right, I'm about to get into this because that's getting a little deep into it. But I just want you to know that literally, okay, I'm gonna go to Barack Obama. So shit, I think Barack Obama is saying and shit like that. So even in the right before this nigga got out of office in 2008. Right before this nigga got out of office in 2008, this man he was the president from 2001 into 2008. Hear me out now. 2001 to 2008. Right? Within that time, before he became president, it was already 7 previous existing national emergencies, supposedly. Right? And every time you get a national emergency and it gives more power to the politicians. And the politicians are the people who own the corporations. And the people who own corporations are the people who own the money. And the people who own the money are the people who supposedly want you to live in this beautiful capitalistic society that they created. Because they're giving you a fair chance. They're giving you a fair chance to become just like them, basically. That's what they're saying. And with that being said, before he became the president, it was not 7 existing ones. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He added 7 more himself. He was the president for 8 years. He added 7 more. You feel me? And only one of those was for some shit that popped off on the land, and there was some shit that him and his family and his friends caused themselves. And then out of nowhere, you get Barack Obama. Change. Right? This is what we need. Change. We don't need these motherfucker warmongers in office no more, right? So President Barack Obama becomes the president in 2009, right? He chilled the first year because he was trying to rock people to sleep. They're in the confusion, but they're in a different stage of the act in order to get people to the society that they want them to be in. And it's not no socialist society or none of that shit. It's literally just the Matrix, bro. They're gonna put some shit inside of you, inside of your food, and inside of your fucking children when they're fucking young to make them obey. But you ain't gotta obey though. With that being said, the people who want to obey they're going to reinforce them obeying. And then the people who don't want to obey, they're going to try to persuade you to obey. And then when they can't persuade you to obey, they're going to pop off some national emergencies and shit. And then when you don't go for the national emergencies, they're going to pop off some active wars where they telling you are at war. And then when you don't go for the war, they're going to pop off some shit where they just kill your ass and make it seem like another country did that shit. And then everybody else who live, they're going to make it seem like we got to rebuild and start over. And this is how we're going to do it. New, beautiful, no racism, all this shit. Still continuing the Hegelian dialectic, though. Creating new problems where they will never make solutions for them. So President Barack Obama get into office, and he was trying to give you that illusion. Like, yeah, this is change. Until April 12th, 2010, the national emergency with respect to blocking property of... You realize how much property they be blocking? How you even get the power to do that? Because of these national emergencies. The national emergency with respect to blocking property of certain persons, contributing certain persons. How stupid are we? How stupid! Certain persons contributing to the conflict in Somalia. Not America once again. Somalia. Who is you? You are doing that. In respect to threats posed by Somali pirates, that was a national emergency signed by... That was the first... So Barack Obama, right? He didn't sign any national emergency until this was his first one. He waited a whole year. And then they created this, once again, false problem. They like, look, bro, it's changed. We calming down. We done, you feel me? Our economy is weak. We in the depression type shit. And this nigga trying to bring you out the depression. And then once people start realizing that's a fucking illusion, guess what they do? They pass another fucking national emergency talking about they blocking property in Somalia in which they can use for their corporations in order to do and control, to continue doing what they're doing already, pretty much. To certain persons contributing, certain persons. They're not going to tell you who it is, whoever it is. And you're telling me that pirates, we're living in 2020, and that was 10 years ago. You're telling me that pirates, with the technology, with the war technology that we have today, you're telling me that pirates in Somalia were threatened enough to make you sign a national emergency in America. That was the first test. They was like, all right, they not falling for the shit. They not falling for the change shit. They see we still bullshitting. So what we gonna do is test this shit out. We're gonna test the Hegelian dialectic out right quick. We're gonna make up a bullshit story, and then we're gonna rock their ass to sleep like never before. Because we are so smooth with this national emergency shit since this nigga Barack Obama in office. We want to see if they gonna go for anything. He passed some shit with some pirates, nigga. Okay, wait a whole year, right? Wait a year. February 25th, 2011, the national emergency with respect to blocking property and prohibiting certain transactions related to Libya froze the access of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. So you're telling me this nigga Gaddafi, right? You seizing his property and prohibiting certain transactions and froze his assets. What he do? He's a Libyan leader? Wow. Oh, so you literally are boldly telling people that your opposition is not of use of you anymore, and they're trying to get you out of their fucking land, and you fucking froze the assets of the person who's trying to goddamn lead that shit. And you telling me you got away with that shit? You didn't get away with it. You didn't get away with it. So you got to realize that when they shit don't work, people start getting mad, start waking up more and more. So that's why they passed the national emergencies, to try to sway your vision, to try to wake up the fucking bots, to say the American government and the American military people said this must be true. And then all the people who already know that what they're doing is illegal and some bullshit, got to go support that shit. and go fight that shit off and make these people try to wake up. And then now, guess what? You still got other people who are still like, fuck that. We paying attention to what the government doing. That's bullshit. We don't want to go into this Hegelian dialectic. So they like, oh shit, it's still people on to us. They still know that we the fucking, it's a man behind the curtain of the Wizard of Oz. So we got to pass some more national emergencies for different triggers. So after that, this man started going ham. After he waited that year, he was like, fuck that shit. February 25th, 2011, he passed the shit with Libya and Muammar Gaddafi. A couple months later, July 25th, 2011, the national emergency with respect to blocking property and transactional criminals was in response to the rise of crime by specific organizations. The Los Zetas, Mexico, the Brother Circle, the former Soviet Union countries, the Yucatana in Japan, and the Camarilla in Italy. So wow, let's get this right. Let's get this great. The American government brought Nazis over here and made them create our fucking science that the government uses for weapons of mass destruction that they sell to other countries, right? Y'all hired these motherfuckers. But pirates, get this right, pirates, Muammar Gaddafi, a leader who just want to stop fucking using the American currency and make his own fucking standard of fucking currency. That's wrong to you, right? And now you talking about these fucking transactional criminals in Mexico, the Soviet Union, and Japan and Italy. Wow. And you ignoring the fact that you have your fucking government is literally ran by Nazis, bro. It's ran by Nazis. They are masters of manipulation. Masters, nigga. Don't confuse that shit, nigga. They masters, bro, of manipulation. Don't get that wrong. If you want to learn how to not be manipulated, you have to study them. In the modern world, nigga. In the modern world. So with that being said, you got these motherfuckers in your government, but somehow you going to, it's a national emergency to block properties and all these other places, right? So after he did that shit in July 25th, 2011, next year, May 16, 2012, the national emergency with respect to blocking property of persons threatening the peace, security, and stability of Yemen addressed political unrest with the Yemen government. So once again, now we in a stage of these families not doing this shit at home. They don't have to worry about doing it at home no more. They got y'all niggas rocked to fucking sleep. So they going everywhere in the world and saying, hey, we gotta goddamn take y'all shit over too, bro. Y'all corrupt as fuck. We gonna take this shit over. Every time they do it, they making a new product that they mass producing to the fucking world and making these people basic slaves. With that being said, let's look at President Barack Obama. From the time he got into office in 2009, he signed, and okay, we already got, okay, how many was the 18 plus 7? So we got 15, or I think we got 16 active existing. When Barack Obama get into office, we have 16 active existing national emergencies already, right? And from that point, he adds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9! He was like, oh yeah, George Bush, you think you good at rocking niggas to sleep and then goddamn making up emergencies and shit like that have nothing to do with America and getting away with it? Guess what? Nigga, I'm gonna do 9. 9 is the number of completion. You get what I'm saying? So once they got that shit complete, what they do? They walk in with a goddamn nigga who ain't even no politician no more. Why is that important? Because of the fact that the whole time they just wanted you to accept their family being goddamn in power. They didn't want to have to, you feel me, have certain people to sway you and rock you to sleep. They wanted to be able to do it themselves. They just choose different family members, different bloodlines in the family. And with that being said, you have to understand that the way they're doing it now is to literally get the mass people to accept what they want without even questioning anything. Because they want you to be convinced that your life in America is so satisfactory that literally they had to go around the world and murder, steal, rape, destroy every fucking year, every president, every election. And then after that, when people don't want to do that in the country, what do? After the national emergencies, all the illegal national emergencies and shit pop off, what do? I got another video for you. They create pandemics. Okay. So right here I got a list of pandemics that's happened in the 21st century, fam. Why is this important? Because of the fact that it co-aligns exactly with elections in America. Why is that important? Because of the fact that one of the main ways that they can put fear into people is to make you fear somebody taking your children or putting your children in danger, and putting your family, putting your elders in danger, and the people you love in danger, putting yourself in danger. And with that being said, the main way they can take care of all those in one bump is what they call pandemics. Planned pandemics. So through them being able to, since they were able to control the crops and shit like that around the world and implement GMOs around the world in different places, and specifically in America, they started being able to basically code your food to poison you, and then be able to basically they're able to delete your DNA and then replace it with false DNA because of the fact that you're eating bullshit. You're not getting real sunlight, and a lot of people are actually, like, their mind state is just not connected to reality and nature. So with that being said, they can code you to be sick and you're not even fucking sick. You might just need to stretch. With that being said, we got 2002, 2004. Why is that important? During the times where they're not passing these national emergencies, which is basically international emergencies in reality. So when they said, when I was asking you, whose nation? It's this nation, the international nation, the global nation, the new world government nation, the global ideology. That's whose nation the National Emergency Act was for. Whenever their plans are actually not working out because nature is stopping it, or people in nature are stopping it, they get people in America to be scared and go to war for them, to back them up and to force these other places in the world to do what they want to say. And then the times where they're satisfied with that shit and nobody's bullshitting them there, and then the people at home are actually during that time, the people at home are actually starting to wake up and say, hey, we just realized y'all niggas tried to fucking sway us. What they do? They start saying, hey, we got fuck that shit, bro. Fuck what you talking about. We got pandemics to worry about. So we gonna name this shit. 2002 to 2004, you had a SARS outbreak. Right? SARS outbreak, I mean. And then in 2009, right when this nigga President Obama got into office, just so happened to be, you had a swine flu pandemic and you had the graduate hepatitis outbreak. Right? And ever since then, this shit just been popping off. So in 2014, you had the Odisha hepatitis outbreak. In 2016, you had the Angola and the DR Congo yellow fever outbreak. In 2018, you had the Madagascar measles outbreak. In 2018, you had the Nipah virus outbreak. In 2019, you had the New York measles outbreak. In 2019, you had the COVID outbreak. And in 2020, they talking about now you got something called the 2020 novel Bania virus outbreak. Before that, you had the HIV/AIDS epidemic. You had the, let's see. They talking about the 4 biggest outbreaks. I already know the 4 biggest outbreaks since the 21st century. This is World Health Organization. The motherfuckers who actually be putting this shit out, basically. Securing them putting it out, at least. They said Ebola was one of the biggest ones. I bet it was, bitch. Y'all motherfuckers hate Africans for some reason. I don't know why they hate Africans. So you telling me since out of nowhere all these motherfucking diseases just starting to pop out of nowhere, and that just so happened to be around the same time that all these national emergencies are happening. People just getting mad, and you feel me? They got to be controlled, and these countries need to be stabilized, right? It just so happens that it's doing it at the same time. So instead of you being able to be mad, now you got to worry about. Now, not only do you got to worry about these motherfucking idiotic, patriotic motherfuckers who really just want military money in their fucking pocket. So even then, when the government start not paying these motherfuckers, you got a group of people going to the center and saying, hey, both the left and the right ain't bullshit. Both of these politicians ain't bullshit. I mean, they bullshitting. And they not going to really do shit for the American people. They just going to keep trying to send us to war. I don't been to wars before. You feel me? You got a whole bunch of people like that. And the reason I'm bringing those people up is because of the fact that they can understand why it's so important for every 4 years there to be an election. You feel me? And then after that, they have it to where basically the last couple terms, the person who's in office stays in office for 8 years. So the reason I'm bringing that up is this: you talking about numerology. You feel me? If this nation is about spirituality or Christianity or some shit like that, there wouldn't even be an election every 4 years. You would already have the law, and that shit would be Jesus Christ's word, and everybody's interpretation of that. With that being said, that's not the fact. The fact is that they have it every 4 years because in numerology, let me show y'all. Numerology wise, 4 represents stability, you feel me? Security for every 4 years, right? So in numerology, the number 4 is the conscientious number with a focus on long-term security. The numerology number 4 is a focus on a number of focus, a focus on building a secure foundation for the future. It can be a lot of work, right? So with that being said, it can be a lot of work. Every 4 years, what do they got to do? What do they got to do every 4 years? They got to focus on building secure foundations for their future. So with that being said, that's a whole bunch of shit to rock you to sleep. Because in reality, if you think a nigga can implement change in 4 years especially after a nigga been claiming that, oh yeah, a nigga's in the office been corrupt for years and years and years, you thinking they're supposed to be able to change that in 4 to 8 years, and then somehow the other people, the corrupt people, supposed to just magically disappear. Your family members supposed to magically disappear, even though you're not arresting them or killing them or publicly like annihilating them like you used to have to do because everybody wasn't rocked to sleep, and when they get mad, we had to see somebody die, nigga. And that it wasn't no fucking nobody overseas, nigga. We know who actually responsible for this shit. We know who's actually responsible for all this. And it's the Donald Trumps. And it's the Hillary Clintons. And it's the people who are supporting these politicians who are basically in office in order to back up the shit they've been doing internationally. And basically back up them abandoning people who don't support what they do internationally. For every 4 years, right? Now, what does the number 8 represent in numerology? Right? I know what this shit represents, but I just want to give y'all some general shit. So, in numerology, the trio of 1, you got 1 president, right? Supposedly, 4 years, every 4 years. And 8. So they saying 1, 4, and 8 are compatible with each other because they are so alike in nature. Both these individuals have a sharp mind and determined to earn a name for themselves in the world. The peace of mind of 4 is disturbed in such a situation. So why is that important? I don't know. I don't know why they're showing me 4. Oh, my bad. That's why. My bad, y'all. I had typed in the wrong shit. So with that being said, 8 in numerology. My bad. 8 in numerology meaning every number. The number 8 is the achiever and measures life by the goals it reaches. It has good business sense, a powerful presence, and a strong drive for success. So we're witnessing a change in the guard, you feel me? Whether you know it or not. Back in the day during the wars and all that other shit, you had a lot of people waking up. A lot of people still waking up in today's world. And then they have a counterculture in order to basically suck the people who wake up into the counterculture which they created. But then people are waking up from that shit and they create an actual counterculture, which eventually will overthrow the actual culture, which is what they fear. So with that being said, they had to put presidents in office that will be in office longer, because with that being said, if this is going to work the way they want it to work, they going to be able to, you going to respect niggas like Donald Trump. You going to respect the nigga who, you feel me, you going to respect George Bush's. You going to respect Gerald Ford's and shit. Why so? Because of the fact that they have a family tradition. They DNA, they rich. So magically that makes them, you feel me, more sophisticated than you. They're your king or queen type shit. And now, since money is in a capitalistic society, because they not going to make this shit socialist. Believe that shit. If they do, it's going to be some shit where it's like the shit where they still controlling it, basically. You still going to be calling these motherfucking corporate leaders your motherfucking daddy. That's what all these motherfuckers do. This is the new god, the corporate leaders. Because of the fact that, and they trying to make you think that if it wasn't for them going and creating their fucking corporation, then your ass would die, nigga, basically. And all these corporate leaders, they basically saying, look, nigga, like, you need our product. We're gonna force it down your fucking throat, nigga. We're gonna force it down your fucking throat. You need us to go to these countries and rob these motherfuckers and make new shit for you. Because we got so many problems. We got so many problems. And the problems are lined up every 4 and 8 years too. So what is the number 8 energy supposed to do? It's supposed to give back. It's supposed to prepare for something to be complete. You feel me? That's what you're supposed to learn in the 8 energy. But a lot of the times, that's not going to happen. They giving you the illusion every 4 years that they're trying to fight for you and protect you and basically keep you safe and keep your children safe. And then they name a list of people and problems which are making this difficult for you. And for some reason, you don't subscribe to these motherfucking problems. That's not your problems, nigga. Your problems is them, nigga. That's your fucking problems. They won't get out the fucking way so motherfuckers like you and I can actually create beautiful ways for people to be able to commerce and fucking have social and culture that's actually peaceful and can actually make a beautiful change in the world without it being a backlash of evil and tyranny, basically. So if you already seen in documentary Plandemic, then that shit's powerful itself. Because of the fact that you gotta understand that these people hire, you feel me, they will put on a nigga like, you know how you be in the hood, right? And then you got some money and your people around you broke. You feel me? That's how they do that shit. Their kids will go to college with a nigga and then they broke as fuck and they still in college struggling trying to become a doctor. You're like, you know what, my family on, bro. We'll help you pay for your college, we'll help you get through life type shit. All we need you to do is some little bit of sacrificial shit, and then we just need you to goddamn go out there and do what you study, what we taught you, basically. Dr. Fauci type shit. This nigga has been in office. He's not the only person, but it's these different people who keep recycling the same narratives in different ways. And we wonder why we feel like we stuck in this matrix type shit. It's because of the fact that the people who script your reality, literally, they are the same people, and they just pass that shit off to their kids and their kids or their cousins type shit. Whoever's more loyal to the actual fucking mission, which is to make corporate leaders respected as motherfucking gods type shit. Because that's what the people who created the algorithm of money want. That's what the people who created the algorithm for the Matrix basically want. That's what the architect want, nigga. He wants you to respect motherfucking business leaders and shit like that. Because you gotta realize the energy of business. Like when you go to work and shit like that, that's one of the places where you gotta accept people how they are type shit. It's like church, nigga. Like I'm at work, nigga. I don't give a fuck if I'm working with a white nigga, I'm Asian, all this shit. Long as they act, you gotta act a civilized way inside of work type shit. That's what they establish the code to be, to brainwash people. So that basically when you on their property and inside of their shit, you better act like a civilized motherfucking slave, nigga. Because if it wasn't for you being able to come in this business, you wouldn't even be able to get no fucking money to feed your family and shit, nigga. So appreciate that. And then on top of that, this is the only place where people could come in and this is a melting pot. Work is a melting pot. Everybody got their own operation. They don't know what the fuck the ending goal is, but everybody's got their own separate operation, and it makes a well-oiled trash composer. Trash decomposer, whatever that shit called. Anyway, as people start, you feel me, waking up even more to this agenda, which is the next step in their agenda in order to basically be able to brainwash everybody. Because after they make you respect corporate leaders and shit like that as God, then they'll be able to say, hey, like, in order for you to come to work, nigga. And that's where it's important to realize, yeah, we're in the age of Aquarius, but you gotta stay 10 steps ahead of yourself. And also be in the future. Well, we're going after the age of Aquarius, the age of Capricorn. The age of Capricorn and the age of Aquarius are both ruled by Saturn. Saturn represents discipline, respect, you feel me? Long-term investments, long-term ideas, you feel me? Like structure, construction, you feel me? It deals with also a form of status. A form of status meaning like, it's like a dominant form of status basically. So, I just want you to be aware of that type of shit, bro. Because that is all channeled through business. It's kind of like the morality of the world is now being channeled through the place that we're taught is the only place that we can be civilized at. Or that everybody's actually civilized in their best self at. But that's not true. You're your best self when you're in nature. You're your best self when you're around your family. You're your best self when you're not forced to be around people who you don't know, doing stuff that you don't know what the results of that shit gonna be. So Just stay woke, man. Cause at the end of the day, this is not the first time they've been doing this shit. They're gonna keep finding different ways to fight each other, to prove to you that they can be a better master for you, until you recognize that neither one can be, and that nobody really can be your master. And that's the counterculture. That's a part of they created a counterculture where they're actually supporting the fact that individualism and basically nobody can be your master type shit. But the reason they did that is to set y'all motherfuckers up to be used as motherfucking pawns, basically. Because the niggas who actually believe that shit, they're oligarchies. They're oligarchists at heart, really. Individualists. They believe that certain people are smarter than the rest of the people, and that, you feel me, that's not as a result of their programming and shit like that. I'm not saying everybody the same level of intelligence. I'm saying everybody don't need to in order to run a civilized, a well-oiled, civilized machine, you feel me? You don't need fear. You don't need order out of chaos, basically. So, with that being said, they're going to have to keep maintaining this. They're going to keep maintaining this narrative of order out of chaos, because you got to realize one of the main things that, you feel me, businessmen do is work on a schedule and time, and they deal with a lot of like organization type shit. They're what happens when you magnify the energy of Virgo type shit. Because it's 3 earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, right? So Capricorn is the cardinal fucking sign out of all of the Capricorn is the cardinal sign out of all of the fucking earth signs. But it's also ruled by Saturn. You get what I'm saying? So that means that it's initiating what Saturn wants to do. So with that being said, since the ages are going backwards, you have to realize that it's up to people like us to set the tone for the people in the future to realize, hey, this is what these motherfuckers are doing, and they gonna have to be forced to make some new shit up, because they not gonna make that shit pop off in the age of fucking Aquarius. They not gonna be able to. That's where their opposition, us, is being built. We're gonna rise first. Then they gonna rise as a result of us rising. But with that being said, it might be some problems then, but you gotta realize the power is the shit is in your hands now. You just can't let them take it away from you. The reason they made the movie Matrix was to brainwash you into visualizing the future they want for you. That's the only reason they made that shit and put it out there. Really, it was to make you scared of that shit. While they were still presently far away from that goal, and while they were still presently far away from that goal at that time and still are right now in today's time, you have to realize that these people are nothing but robots at heart already. That's what that fucking energy's about. You get what I'm saying? You're not using nothing but your fucking greed, basically. Your survival skills. You only think about survival at that point. And that's going to get you fucking murdered by people like, you feel me? Not people like me, because I don't kill people. But that's going to get you murdered in the spirit world. You're going to be very, very, you're going to be very, very put down, basically. If you don't start rising up right now, you're going to be put down, basically. So with that being said, how do you rise up? By checking out the algorithms that they use. It's different algorithms. You have to look up, why do they use these numbers like every 4 years? It's because of the fact that during those 4 years, they're sowing the seeds for their self to be successful, their opposition to be successful in the future, and for them to have a way for them to stop their opposition from being successful. And as you study these algorithms and the personalities and the energies that match these algorithms, like how the shit that popped off in 1972, where Richard Nixon was supposed to be the president, but then he stepped down, and then Gerald Ford became the president. And then after that, after George Ford bitch ass became president, Jimmy Carter bitch ass became president. Jimmy Carter was a bitch. Let's be real, bro. I don't know how they rocked that nigga. I don't know what they did, but these people used to be very, very, very scared of these people who actually control the world, the shadow government. And they were very scared for their own fucking life because they ain't nothing but puppets themselves. But then once you get over time, they get rid of once you start studying the algorithms and how the numbers work and shit like that, when the 2000s came, it's a new paradigm shift. You feel me? If every year is starting off with the number 2, you got a duality already. You feel me? So they cannot be the only thing that exists. So all they can do at this point is try to convince the people who are new to this world, meaning babies, meaning ignorant people, meaning people who are just waking up, meaning people who just now using their body for the first time actually. People who just now fall in love with the earth. They're fighting for these people's attention every day that they wake up, every fucking single hour. Because they know for a fact, they've been preparing for a fact for their opposition to be here. So when their opposition came, they like, okay. They like, let's get this shit straight. We know there's gonna be a duality. We know we're not gonna be able to rock these motherfuckers to sleep how we've been able to with all this greed and shit. So with that being said, what we're gonna do is create a system to where we can constantly fight for people's attention so that we can minimize the resistance basically. And if we minimize the resistance, then we can eliminate it eventually. It's very simple. But with that being said, that's not gonna work because that's not how nature works. And they don't, whether they know it or not, everything is controlled and governed under nature. As much as they try to resist it. And if not, then nigga, you dead. You just dead already. And there's nothing wrong with dying already. But if you're not living by the laws of nature, that means you're dead. And if you're not dead, and if you dead, and you on this earth walking, and you're not being responsible with that, then you must be eliminated from existence. And I will use my own algorithms. I will create my own algorithms, and they are already 15 times better than yours. But with that being said, you will not have access to it this time because there's a resistance and there's a field in between in which people are creating so much fucking space in between me and these motherfuckers. These motherfucking greedy ass niggas, they won't even be able to steal my shit no more. They won't be able to steal our shit this time. I mean, they won't be able to steal our shit for a good while at least. For about another 2,000 years. They won't be able to steal our shit. But by then, a motherfucker gonna be so cushy, a motherfucker gonna have so much space in between us that shit. The technology that's about to be created, man, it's gonna be, we making it for everybody to be able to use it. That's what I mean by space. So even good people at home, you're gonna be as equally as powerful as a nigga with money, and that's gonna re-rock the whole structure, nigga. So much so that people gonna have to literally forget all the ancient shit and the new shit that they thought they knew, because everything gonna be, it's a new paradigm, bro. And you must sacrifice, or you will be considered greedy, and you will literally starve yourself to death. Because you won't ever realize that you are already abundant. You already have what you need. No president can ever stop that, and no virus can ever kill you. No international threat can ever actually kill you. The only people who can kill you are your brothers and sisters on this land. Sadly, that's the only people. And different devices and different narratives over time are still prevalent in today's world. So many, but most of them are evil. Most of them are actually evil because over time they all committed evil acts in order to maintain power. And now that is not respected. That is not respected by me. That's not respected by a soldier. Because of the fact that we created all that shit. I created the Hegelian dialectic, nigga. I made that shit up. That nigga stole that shit from me, nigga. So don't get that shit confused. I know why you're using the Hegelian dialectic. I know how you're using it. I know the different applications for using it. I know the different variations and variables for using it. I know the different devices you use to use it. That's not the only way you're using it either. I know about the Tavistock Institution. You feel me? I know about MK Ultra. All this shit, guess what? That was them trying to figure out shit that I left behind and restart that shit. But I wasn't doing that shit. We were doing that shit for good back then. And we left it available until nature wanted to kill it out and drown it out of existence. But you have to realize that when nature makes something, reopens something back up to existence, meaning when the age of Aquarius is opening back up and budding back up, that energy is available to everybody. And their interpretation is up for grabs. Meaning, if I don't say myself that I don't respect, and I would never be able to love anybody on this planet who could harm children and use the Hegelian dialectic for evil, and not be able to not use it only for individual progress in order to make yourself a better person. When I tell you that shit right there is weak. It's weak. And it's just like, at the end of the day, if more people are able to say that out of their own mouth, that they don't respect stuff like that, they don't respect people money, and they able to act on that, and they able to break down how the system actually works, the more that people are able to do that, it's the more that the philosophies and the new technologies of the mind that are being created by me and soldiers and people like, you feel me, similar, who are also able to see things from their different angles on the arc. With that being said, we all gonna come together and stitch this shit together at the end of the day. But the most important part of this whole shit, the most important part of this whole niche, this whole spider web, is that we voice how much we don't agree with things that we know are not right. Because we have the power out of our mouths at this point in time from moving forward for the next 600 years at least 600 years. Whatever you say out of your mouth will, if not be used, it will be collected over time to be a weapon to destroy the beast. So say it. Say you don't respect a businessman. Say that you don't need a corporation to goddamn do certain shit in life. And say that, guess what? I don't like certain people. And I don't have to fucking work with them because I don't want to work with a fucking pedophile. I don't want to work with this nigga just because you telling me the only reason you control the economy and shit like that, right? You control the economy. And you telling me the only way I can get fucking money is if I go work next to people who you tell me I don't want to work for, when I can literally be building the same technology I need to survive without even needing money. Without even needing money, fam. Man, come on, bro. Get this broom. Sweep their ass under the rug, bro. It's time. So say that. Say it. That shit is not... It's okay to say, I mean, it's very okay to say that you disagree with what's going on in the world. And that doesn't take none of your energy. It's just simply you as a fucking soldier or whatever energy that you represent or want to interpret your energy as, that's you voicing and expressing to this universe, which is basically your beautiful flower that you can speak life into. Because you are the new force. You are the new resistance. You are the new equal force to the collective global elites, which is an individual. You are actually the existing American patriot. What they were trying to do back then, you are that, nigga. You can live literally without needing anybody else in the world. We can create that system right now. And you can start just by doing it with your family. You don't need to go outside of your house to do that shit. You don't need to go outside of your family to do that shit. It's okay to, but you can start right there. These things you can do at home. You can create your own fucking electrical grid. You can create your own heat sources. You can create your own air conditioning sources. You can create your own refrigeration sources. You can create your own farming sources, resources, and systems. Come on, it's not hard. All these things are available to everybody, not just on the internet. It's in your DNA now. Don't let these people tell you that just because you learn something on the internet, it's not fair or it's not worth shit. That's what they want you to think because they are the global elites and they are a part of a global scheme in which they have gained so much power that nature is literally put you here to have just as much power as them, but not need as many people. You can contain as much power as they contain in yourself, but they need a whole bunch of people to make their goal right. Why is that? Because it's against actual nature. The more outside of nature our civilization gets, it's the more corrupt that the more corruption they allow, basically. And with that being said, that's when they start to respect. That's the more people in a society that it takes to actually make things that need to be done. And then the more people you get in society, it's the more people you got to kill off eventually so that you can contain your power, because eventually they're going to overthrow your ass if they get too much, if they get too populated. So with that being said, now as the equal, you are like, fuck Neo. I don't believe in the whole Matrix story. I ain't gonna have your head up to make you think you the one, nigga. No, your knowledge is the one. Your voice and your words and what you leave behind, the energy that you leave behind on this planet is the one. Because the future generations, they will not be forced to be subscribed to the world that the beast is creating for them. That is up to you as a fucking parent to sit right here and explain what I'm explaining to your kids and prepare them to live in this world and to create technologies, like I'm saying, to make them not have to rely on these motherfucking beasts at all, because it's everybody's planet at one time. So let me go ahead and finally do one more thing. So with that being said, I'm gonna blow their ass. I'm gonna blow their goddamn pollen right into the flame. They will not be reproducing. They will not be able to conceive any thoughts. They will not be able to conceive any thoughts. I'm about to pull a card, everybody. With this card, it's gonna be a spirit deck. Whenever I talk about something this deep, I gotta release it by pulling the card, because the solution doesn't come from them, because there's really no problem in reality. The solution comes from you creating. What you create should not be a problem. What you create should be always solutions. So if you create solutions nonstop, if you create solutions nonstop, problems will never exist. So with that being said, what is the solution? What is the solution? What is the solution? We got the seal. It says, hard work and inspiration are the foundation of true creativity. Hit that out. I'm gonna let that sit right there and let y'all ponder on that. Hard work and inspiration are the foundation of true creativity. Hard work and inspiration are the foundation of true creativity. Hard work and inspiration are the foundation of true creativity. So why? when we get this card, for the solution for all this shit that I was just talking about in this video, because of the fact that if you just listen to everything I was just saying, pretty much, it goes back to you working just as hard as a corporation. You got to work just as hard as these corporations. You are equal to these corporations. If you are more powerful than corporations, it's reality, because they need thousands of people to do whatever the fuck they do. You don't need none of that shit. So with that being said, all you got to do is stay inspired and stay focused on your vision. Work hard towards your vision and create a foundation of true creativity, so that every 4 years you don't have to rely on you don't have to be wondering about a president. There is no new political system. That shit is over with. The new political system is everybody working hard and inspiration and inspiring each other, so that we can create a new foundation for true creativity. Not keep fucking, bro. The new age is supposed to be about new shit. You feel me? It's a new paradigm shift. So when I say creativity, I don't even think most people have even experienced a creative thought, a genuine creative thought, something that does not exist, something that's not put in a thought that's not put in your head. So that's why that's the answer. You have to literally work hard as fuck just to have a true thought, just to truly be creative in reality. And that's the only way you can stop this shit. With that being said, appreciate that. It's been CGT Podcast, episode 2. This one is a long one, man. But I had a couple distractions. Outside of that, I appreciate y'all for staying tuned. And like I said, take advice from the card, the spirit deck. See you episode 3.